For anyone who doesn't know me, I'll just introduce myself briefly. My name's Kristin, and I had the pleasure of sitting with Keith quite a few times about 4 and a bit years ago on the porch, and I'm going to share my story from the heart. I've been sort of helping out behind the scenes for a whole year, and so when no one volunteered, I thought, well, that only means one thing. It's finally my turn, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with all of you. And this is the first practitioner call that Rick is not on, but I had a giggle when I stopped my video and there's a picture of Rick, but it has my name. So that's pretty funny. I actually was on a women's, I'm doing this Eclipse Moon School online, and my computer was automatically signed in under this account yesterday. So when I joined, they all had a funny look on their face because Rick's lovely face was showing, and they were like, who is this? So here we are. Rick, we miss you. And I believe Rick is on his way home from his honeymoon right now. So he'll be back in action tomorrow. So Keith, would you like to start us off all on the same good vibe here today? Oh, he's muted. Trying to oh,
Delighted.
there you are.
I got it. All right. Hi, everybody. Yay. All right, I'm all set up here. I got here about 15 minutes ago and cleared the space of mosquitoes, basically by feeding them. And so here we are. We're at the beginning of the rainy season. There's always a few. So all we have to do is go walking through our neighbors' yards and find where they happen to be breeding, and that usually takes care of it. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself holding your hands in a funnel just above your crown, just above the top of your head, and inviting the cacao spirit and her energy to blend with you, merge with you in a new and additional way. Ask her to join you in this expanded way. So that she can contribute to your journey today in connecting to wherever we're going, wherever you're going. As she fills you with presence and light, allow the gentle increase in your energy and vibration, the glow meditation, the overflow of divine potential. Sending it to yourself, to your private practice, to your journey as a practitioner working with other people with and without cacao, individually and in groups. And then give the cacao spirit permission. Ask her to go out into the world and connect with people who, whether they know it or not, are looking for you. Because vibrationally, resonantly, you have what they need in their life right now. So ask her to go and find them. And however it happens, connect with them. And get them to you through friends, through posters and advertising, through chance encounters. All this is very easy to arrange at the causal plane, the template reality level. So give her some work. Send her out there to recruit some fun people whose frequency is ready for the upgrades you have to offer. Give them the knowing that when they find you, they'll find more than you. Many of them will find real cacao. Many of them will find the next level of their open heart. You can add your own guides and the entity, the spirit behind your practice, your business, if you like, and they'll join. But give her a job today. Out into the world to find people who will be glad they found you. Now, I understand Rev Share had a post on this just a little bit ago, and someone else, that there is there's kind of a contraction going on right now where people have a lot of stuff up and they are distracted. So some people are experiencing, we're certainly experiencing it here in San Marcos, there's fewer people on the porch, but the people that are there are much higher quality. The next wave of waking up is just barely getting going. And there will be a third one in a few years. This new wave of waking up includes a lot of people who haven't been available to spirituality because they're busy. They're professionals. They got a family. But from inside, their little alarm clock is beginning to ring. And there are going to be a lot more of them than in the wave that you and I, the first wave, have been in, where we were called to this inner awakening, this going home, this ascension, this realization some time ago. So use this time, if you find it a little quieter for you, to upgrade yourself so you'll be ready for them. I remember a few years ago when the first wave here hit, and all of a sudden we had 50 to 60 people on our little porch that feels full with 25. Being professionals, many of them won't be traveling to Guatemala, but they'll need ceremonies in their local area. They'll need some processing assistance in their local area. They'll need some help from you. Now it's done. Your friend who came and got you, the cacao spirit, is now directed, given permission. This is a free will universe. Permission is important. It is now directed to go out there in the world and find people for you. Now, I started with the opening upwards, the connection to the cacao spirit in a new way and what she brings. So let that settle deeper into your body, down to the heart level. Let that connection expand. Maybe it needs to go down to your power center, third chakra. Maybe down to your second chakra, creativity. Let it go. In partnership with your higher self, working with your higher self, the cacao spirit will integrate, balance, and align some things in you. One of the things will be fear of success, or the much more common fear of failure, or the much more common fear of success. Most people think it's fear of failure. Actually, for most people, it's fear of success. And the issues behind that. She will help your caring subconscious mind to bring the issues, the belief systems up. So you can work with them or not, and they'll come back and you get another shot. So more fun, more joy. All right, eyes open. Kristin?
Thank you, Keith. As always. Does anyone have any questions for Keith before, kind of in relation to what he was just sharing with us before we move on? Paula does. And then Rebecca.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, Paula.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
Yeah, so I have questions around. So I've been experiencing a little bit of yeah, I guess seeing my belief systems around holding space and knowing what's needed, you know. So I know on one level that I know, and I don't necessarily trust that I know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like, I don't know, I kind of question myself sometimes, like I'll be drawn to someone, for example, and then I get into this inner like thing with myself in like, that's just coming from your mind, or not going to them is coming from my mind. And, you know, I just always kind of questioning myself. And I was kind of working on this belief system that I have that like, in a caring role, I'm going to hurt someone. So that's,
Good.
yeah, so that's, I would love some help with that one.
Okay, two things here. First is the when the doubt gets involved, when the monkey mind gets involved, and you're working with belief instead of knowing. So either way, okay, I'm going to connect to them. Okay, I'm not going to connect to them. Either way, there's doubt.
Yeah.
Now, about 2 weeks ago, I think, and let me just drop out a full screen here and go looking on my desktop, if that's going to be possible. Let's see. About 2 weeks ago, let's see, when would the approximate date be? Well, I don't have it here, but Matt Kahn published a little video. It's only about 3-something minutes long, called A Cure to Overthinking. I highly recommend that. I can see if I can remember to put the link to that. Barbara will make a note for me in there, put a link to that on the practitioners page. And it's on his website. And I highly recommend it. It really does a nice job.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my, I have my screen back here. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing comes from old history as a healer, and most of us have it. When we get in trouble for one reason or another, either with the powers that be, or by missing something, getting something wrong, something happens we didn't foresee with a client. So imagine all these lifetimes where you have gotten in trouble for the gifts you came in with, for working with the light, where somehow you went against the grain, or the typical story, like the Catholics with the witches. You had community support. You were the local healer. The church needed to take that away. So they would make you into a working for the dark side and persecute. We've all been there. We've all done that. And now once again, and in fact, to an even greater degree than ever, we are all powering up and stepping into a new level of healing. We all feel, on one level or another, even if it's subconscious, we all feel this wave of approaching planetary release. The public feels it. They're a little uneasy. By this time next year, everybody's going to be nervous, on edge, and not know why. As we get closer and closer to major things happening in reality around us, with economies, things like that, people get more and more aware of it on a psychic level. And you're already aware that something's coming. Trouble's coming. Ugliness is coming. Releases of hate, judgment, violence, intolerance are coming. And especially with you, you grew up in that. In Ireland, in that kind of rigid expression of, I cannot allow you to have a different belief system than I do. I feel victimized by you having a different belief system than I do. Therefore, you are to blame. You are victimizing me. There's a lot of this out there now, and it's going to get bigger. And so here you step into a healer, and you start helping people, and you know that somebody might not like that, because you don't have the certifications, the degrees from the right people. You have the inner license to heal, not the outer one. And to them, the license to heal you have doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can line up 100 people that you helped. They won't like it. So this energy is building. But at the same time, another energy is building. More and more of the public are looking for answers somewhere else. Somewhere else than the political system, somewhere else than the medical system. And they need you. Now, if there is going to be an increasing number of people but doing two things. One is being impulsed to wake up inside. And two is having their dramas intensify as the energies go up on the planet. They are going to very quickly figure out that the doctor and psychology roadshow has nothing for them, can't help them, other than to perhaps give them some antidepressants to push it back down. This rebellion is in its early stages. The web is absolutely full of alternative medical stuff. Doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors out there with alternative treatments to everything. From cancer and autoimmune to Alzheimer's video after video series. Now you've jumped most of that. And you're in the energy work, which is, that's going to take a few years for that to crest. But there's already a huge number of medical doctors doing things that a few years ago they would have lost their licenses for because they're alternative. This is the wave you're going to ride. We all are. As increasing numbers of people realize that conventional religion and conventional medicine cannot serve their needs. It doesn't work for them. It doesn't give them the answers or the changes in their life they're looking for. And certainly a certain percentage of them will go to the psychedelics. And many will find cacao. It's nice that chocolate is legal. That helps. That helps you be public at any rate. And so trust that there will be the people coming who are looking for what you have to offer, and they are not finding it in other places.
Yeah.
Already for you, word of mouth is one of your strongest advertising assistants, yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And people bring other people because it works for them. As the energies continue to go up, whatever it is that you do is going to get more and more powerful and work better and better.
I think the thing is that I like I feel a lot, but I never know what I'm feeling, you know?
Okay.
So it's hard for me to translate that into something that will be of use for someone, you know?
All right. Well, let's give you an example, and for everybody on the call. You're aware of something, but you can't put your finger on it. You can't list, this is coming from here, this is this shock, or this is this issue. Now, what if that's actually a gift? What if that, for you right now, is going to keep it out of your rational mind?
Yeah.
Because you don't have anything to feed the rational mind that it can grab onto and run with. So without that, you've got the energies. You've got the channel you are. You've got what so many higher beings are saying these days, healing is access. It isn't doing. So you are literally removing the straw of what this is about from your mouth so you can't drink on that one, and being thrown into the healing is access. Connect to the energies and bring them through. And then let the other person guide you. They will give you the information you need. You might have to coax it out of them a little bit, but they'll give you the information you need to follow them. And then you're in a place where they know, but you don't have to know because you're following them, and everything gets easy.
Okay.
And you understand, if they're not truly ready to go there, they're not going to tell you. So you don't have to worry about knowing something that they're not ready to hear because they haven't told it to you. When they are ready, they will.
Okay.
And I am very much reminded of a, I imagine he was German or Austrian, back in the time of Freud and Wilhelm Reich. And there were, I cannot remember his name. There were 3 of them. Freud said you can figure it all out by working with your parents and your mother and all of that. Hold on for a minute. Okay, I'm back. Wilhelm Reich said, you can find it in the body, and he became sort of the father of modern body work. You can find it physically. Well, this other contemporary gentleman to Freud and Reich did this. He would ask people, why are you doing this with yourself? You know, people that were sick, people that were dying. Why are you doing this with yourself? And they would literally tell him exactly why they were doing it on a vibrational, on an emotional, on an energetic level. And that was his purpose. Now, if you get into a book like Carolyn Mace's The Creation of Health. She's a medical intuitive, and that's her medical intuitive book. It's called The Creation of Health. And she would tell people, literally tell them exactly why they had this disease, exactly why they were dying. But understanding that on a rational mind level, they couldn't change their reality. Knowing exactly why you're killing yourself, literally, isn't enough to change anything. So Carolyn Mace gave up being a medical intuitive because she could help very few people. And she went on to write a lot of other books on different kinds of things. You, with all this inner processing, with the shadow work, with the emotional release work, with the loving what arises, with the working with your pain body, with the parallel reality shifting, you know how to do what Carolyn Mace didn't know how to do. She could only give them the information at the rational mind level. You know how to take them deeper inside. You understand the modern version of the shamanic journey called creative visualization, where you help people discover the answers within themselves, which is actually better than giving them the answers because they're empowered as a result of it, which is the business you're in, empowering other people to be more of themselves.
Yeah, cool.
So trust that this you don't know is actually exactly precisely the gift your consciousness is giving to you to get you into another level of trust, that if someone wants to go there, they'll tell you how to get there. And together you can lead them, you can figure it out. And you know, we use a lot of little visualization tools. And we'll use one with you right now, and everybody else can do it in a way for them. Is imagine yourself sitting in a room that represents this, I need to know. If I don't know, I can't help them. If I don't know what to do, I'm not able to take the next step. So imagine yourself just sitting in that room of that energetic space, feeling it, feeling a little anxiety, a little, how can I do this? A little, well, if I don't know what to do, I'm not good enough. And a little that you might fail, all that sort of thing. And then imagine yourself melting through the floor of the room to the room underneath, as if you're in an apartment building, and you melt through the floor to the room that supports the room you were just in, immediately below it. and see, sense, and feel around that room. What are the energies that support the abundance of distrust? And bring the light into this room.
The first room was like really just empty and white. And then the second room was total opposite, like dark and almost like a library, a lot of books.
Uh-huh. Is the darkness fear?
No, it almost feels like a hidden room.
Okay.
Like the knowledge being kept safe or something.
All right.
That makes sense. Like
so all the books represent the knowing that you would have a connection to on other levels.
Mm.
The wisdom literally of lifetimes of other dimensional beings that you have a personal connection to. So bring some light into the room. Asking that you connect to this resource. Just waiting. I believe you had a sense that what is in here belongs to you, yes?
Yeah.
Or is completely available.
Yeah. But it felt like it needed to be protected.
All right. So ask your guides to do that. Even if the protection only comes from your fear, you can still ask your guides to make this place safe. And next step, to make it safe for you to connect to. Now, other people will be finding different things in the way of the room they were in above. But for you, Paula, ask that in front of you, on a little table or a bench, comes your fear of having access to this knowledge base, this wisdom from many levels.
So on the table, it's like a small book, a notebook, like an old notebook I'm supposed to write in.
And why? Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I think it's like the fear of having to reproduce all of this knowledge.
Uh-huh. But you don't need to learn any of it
Mm.
if you just open to it.
But it's like it's kind of safe if it's someone else's knowledge. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah. But like if it's coming from me, it's less safe.
What if it's universal knowledge?
Mm.
What if it's freely available to anyone? What if the universe would just love to give you access to this database?
Mm.
What if the universe can't wait for you to have fun here? Ask this place that's appearing like a library to show you what it would like to do with you. Would it like to come to you and connect to you? Ask it. Do you need a key? Do you have permission? Do you, whatever, all these fun things.
Yeah, it feels like it's very available.
Feels like it wants to play?
Yeah.
Feels like it would like to share its abundance with you in a way that would assist you in what you do?
Yeah.
So ask it, literally ask it to connect with you. Or to tell you that the connection is already there.
I'm getting a really intense pain in my neck.
Ah, beautiful. And what do you think that's about?
Um, I don't know.
Can I tell you?
Sure.
This is exactly what your question is about.
Uh-huh.
Paula, if you connect to this, you're going to let the information out into the world. Uh-oh, big trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't connect to this, you can't let it out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would like you to do something, and everyone on this call can do the same thing. I would like you to bring in around you, like, above you and to the sides, front, back, right, left, and above you.
Mm-hmm.
All of the individuals, beings on an essence level that you currently work with, who are grateful for your presence in their life, and all of the beings that you have future agreements with. Those agreements made on another level, you just haven't met them yet over, say, the next few years. Bring them all in here, all around each of you. The beings you literally already have a contract with. And all these beings are going to vote. They're going to vote for, do we need Paula to open up access to this so that we can better take our journey? And they're all going to vote. And what do they have to say? It's pretty silly, isn't it?
Obviously.
They say, Paula, we're counting on you. Now, if all of us, they say, need you to open this, don't you think that that energy and all of your unseen friends and all of ours, which has got to be a lot of unseen friends, yes?
Yeah.
Are going to help keep this safe?
Mm.
Because there are a lot of people counting on all of us. And no pressure there, no responsibility. It's just the choices that you made before you came in of the kind of fun you wanted to have. You want to be able to connect to a cosmic database. Some people would refer to it as the Akashic records, but it's not really something somewhere else. It's inside.
Mm.
The library's inside.
Mm.
The library, or if you prefer, the key to the library belongs to you. You have your own key. No one else can use it. And you would never have found this place if this place wasn't jumping up and down, waiting for you. This place is excited.
Mm-hmm.
So take this book or notebook that you got and come on up to the level above. We might have a strange little bit of a craziness here. I hear a chainsaw starting at the neighbors.
Oh, fun.
So I'll move my mic in a little bit closer here and see if we can work with this. Okay. So this place is something that you have an agreement with. And it's a lot more than you. It's all these other people who plan on benefiting from your journey with this place and quite possibly helping them with their connection to their own place. Does that help, Paula?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Rebecca, I think you're next. If you want to unmute here, and away we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so you kind of touched in your meditation at the beginning about the fear of success. And that is like a major deal for me. And that's part one of my question. And part two of my question is, I've just realized that as a healer, when I'm around people with energetic incongruencies, that my energetic system takes them on. So I mentioned when I was on the call last week, or your ceremony last week, that I had an ear thing going on. And it was because a friend of mine had come over and they had exactly the same ear thing.
Uh-huh.
I've recently realized that it's because my system is trying to learn how to heal that by experiencing it myself. And whilst that's really awesome, I'd really like it to go.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like both, so it's like a two-part question, but those are my things for the moment.
Okay. Well, as an empath, now that's the term for what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
People consider how it works in three different ways. One is that you actually take on the energy from the other person. Two, you adjust your vibration, resonance, and frequency to match theirs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens between two people who hang out a lot with each other, or are sisters or brothers, or brother and sister, or who love each other, is that you don't really read the other person's mind. You match resonances with them, and you're having the equivalent thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
As your partner, your friend, or somebody you're close to, like a sibling.
Yeah.
And the third way is that you identify inside yourself with whatever they're working with. And I don't care which way people look at it, because the end result is the same. You got it. It's in you. You're stuck with it until you do your work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've got up on YouTube, if you go to YouTube and you do a search for Empath Training Keith,
Okay.
it'll come right up at the top of the list.
Okay.
Now, that's a simple phone recording. We haven't gotten a nice video all put together yet. Someday. That's a nice phone recording of the empath training, including meditations and everything. It'll help you or anybody else understand their childhood, their adolescence, and their love life in a completely new way. And most of everybody in the practitioners group is a sponge for other people's density, or plants, or animals, or global events, or, you just happen to be walking past the news and it's talking about a bus crash on the other side of the planet, and instantly you're connected.
Yeah.
Downloading the pain, the anguish of the people involved, helping them out. It's a beautiful, powerful thing to do, but putting it inside has its liabilities, shall we say. It is how you get your training, so there's nothing wrong with it, but it's time to stop internalizing it, eating it. We joke all the time, you can read the book without eating the pages. And we refer to that as a novel idea. So, Rebecca, I want you to close your eyes. Sit back, relax. Yeah, good. And imagine that this disorder, the ear thing, that your friend had, that you're learning about. Now, if its true cause is on an energy and emotional level, you can easily take on that energy and then manifest the same symptoms that she's having. Right?
Yeah.
Very easy to do. So, imagine now that you take that package of energies out of you and put it in front of you. About a meter out in front of you, a yard, a meter out in front. And now, out in front of you, ask your guides to transmute it outside of you. And if you still have anything in your ear, feel the difference.
It's clearing.
Literally ask your friends, your unseen friends, to do the work outside of you.
It's clearing, but I can't work out why I'm holding on to some of it. Well, actually, I can, because it's connected to what Paula was sharing around, like the fear, the bit where she was saying she had neck pain, because then it would mean that she'd have to share it with the world. I know that that's going on for me. It's like I'm on purpose holding on to something to keep small. Not that I was saying that's what Paula was doing, but that's how I connected to it.
Right. You're afraid you'll lose part of your education, yes? And you'll just have to do it again because you didn't learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Well, what if the actual lesson is to do it outside yourself? Now, your guides just came in and worked with this energy, right?
Yeah.
Put it back inside. See what the difference is.
Well, I can't really put it back because they've cleared some of it permanently and some of it's still there.
Then if it's permanently changed,
yeah,
it's upgraded to a higher vibration. Put that in. In other words, if it's healed outside, put the healing inside. How does that feel?
Yeah, my whole cheek is buzzing. Much like
Isn't that easy, simple, beautiful?
yeah, very.
You can do this work inside. It's a beautiful way to learn. At a certain point, you're actually much better off doing the work outside and having your friends do the work.
Mm.
With all of the guides and angels and Mother Earth that you have as personal friends who can so easily transmute this in another dimension.
Mm.
Why should you struggle with it on the physical level where they can handle it very easily at their level? And imagine that they have their hands tied if you don't ask them to help you. You follow me?
Yeah.
Because they can't come in and get it. That would be a violation of your free will to do it the hard way.
Okay.
And absolutely, they know better than to interfere with your free will, even if it would be good for you. They will not play that game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you want to have some fun?
Yeah.
All right. Take the restriction in your throat to letting your magic out into the world, classic throat chakra issue. Take that and put it outside of yourself, a yard, a meter in front of you. And once again, ask your friends to help you with it, to give it a makeover. And because it can happen in another dimension where they have all the time they need, it's already finished, and put it back in. In other words, in your timeline, it appears to take a few seconds. But in their reality, they actually have all the time they need, whether that's hours, who knows?
It feels very different.
Yes. And this is a very easy technique that you can do with yourself or with others. And it works.
Mm. Super cool. Thanks, Keith.
All right. I didn't see another hand up, so Kristin, I'll go back to you.
Thanks, Keith and Rebecca and Paula. I'm going to take this opportunity to share my story from the heart, and I know we'll have more questions for Keith and each other later. So I'll just start from the beginning of this story, which was around this time in 2014, so 5 years ago. My partner Tanner, who some of you have seen on some of the earlier calls, he hasn't been with us as much lately. His mom and Joanna, who was just on the call and was sad that she's missing this story in the live moment, but the two of them ventured down to Keith's porch, maybe like February or March of 2014. And it was very life-changing for both of them, from what I understand, because later that year, they both came to Vancouver Island where we were living, and cacao was the buzzword. We were eating it, drinking it, talking about it, sharing it. They started hosting some ceremonies in our community where we were living on Vancouver Island. And I remember the first day that Tanner's mom, Corey, came back. She had some of Keith's beans, and she looked at us with a very serious look on her face across the dinner table, and she said, "Be careful about how you use these because they're truth serum." And I'm certain that I rolled my eyes at her. We've laughed about this a few times since, and I have a natural skepticism about pretty much everything, so I was like, whatever. And oh God, I've swallowed my words hundreds of times in the last 5 years, because it didn't take very long for us to start questioning our own lives, our own thoughts, our own beliefs, and each other, and just basically coming to a conclusion about 4 or 5 months later. It didn't take long. And we had worked with some other plant medicines as well. And we basically got to the point of, what the hell are we doing right now? What are we doing with our lives? What's the point of all of this? There's got to be something that's more fun. And it was about October of 2014, and we started getting rats moving into the house we were renting. And we thought, okay, these rats are telling us to carry on and go find somewhere else to be. And at that same time, Tanner's mom said, I'm going back to Mexico. I've been invited down, and you're invited to join me if and when you feel like you'd like to. So we crossed over the Mexican border in our car. We drove down through the US, crossed over the Mexican border on Christmas morning of 2014. Spent several months in Mexico. And at some point, we put down a payment to join a yoga teacher training certification program in Oaxaca, Mexico. And so we had about 10 days or 2 weeks. And then Tanner's mom had gotten on a plane, and no, she had gotten on a bus. And she went back down to see Keith again. And her and Joanna had rented a little casita together. And Joanna was about to head home, and Tanner's mom said, there's room here if you guys would like to come down for a week before you go to your yoga teacher training. And so we thought, okay, let's do that. So we drove the 2-day journey through the mountains down to the lake. And as soon as we saw the lake, we were just like pretty blown away. And we got there, and we got all hunkered in. And the day we moved in, I had been really sick, and so I wasn't eating much, and I was pretty exhausted. And then the water stopped flowing in the part of the village we were in, and we had to start going and taking 5-gallon pails down to the lake to haul our water. And it really immediately connected us into the local culture there. And we started coming to ceremonies. And we were there about 3 days. And Tanner and I were sitting out in the grass one morning and kind of looked at each other, and we just started to laugh, and we said, we can't leave here in a few days. This is insane. And so we contacted the yoga school where we were supposed to be going, and we said, we have 2 friends that would like to take our spot. We are at the lake in Guatemala, and we can't possibly leave here. We have to stay. And I said, if we'd understand if you need to keep part of our money, that's fine. It's not like us to back out, but we know we have to stay. And he said, no problem. He said, on your way back up, whenever you find yourself driving north again, we'll give you all of your money back. So it's all okay. Follow your heart. So we just hunkered down and rented a little place right down the road from Keith. Some of you might know it if you've been to San Marcos. It's got a big Canadian maple leaf on the gate, which felt like a bit of a sign to us Canadians. And so we stayed there for about another 7 weeks, and we went to every ceremony we could. We helped package as much cacao as we could. And yeah, we just kind of wanted to stay forever, but at some point, we knew that we had to take this medicine back north with us. And as well as going to Keith's ceremonies, we did a lot of our own journeying at home through our yoga and meditation practices and some shamanic journeying, self-guided things. And during one of the last weeks we were there, I had this very clear visualization and connection with the cacao spirit. Tanner was playing his drum in a very steady rhythmic way, and I I went on this journey into the jungle, and I found myself standing in a forest amongst a bunch of trees, and all of a sudden I heard this crashing sound, and I turned and I walked to where the sound was, and I found this huge iridescent purple cacao pod. It was like the size of a football, and I picked it up, and I was wearing one of these woven Guatemalan pieces of fabric that the women there carry the babies in. And I heard a whisper in my ear, and it said, take this pod and hold it close to your heart and share it everywhere you go. And I just thought, oh, there's no mistake here. So Tanner and I talked about it, and we went to Keith and Barbara, and we said, well, you know, we'd really like to take a lot of cacao back to Canada with us. And they were like, well, what's a lot of cacao? And they were like, we measured the trunk of our car, and we thought, well, we're pretty sure we could fit about 150 pounds in the trunk of our car. So Keith said, well, we'll need a few days for that. So it was really special because we helped to package all of the cacao that we took north with us. And it was a joyful and sad day when we drove away from the lake, but yeah, we really felt blessed by Keith and Barbara and by the lake and by all the totally incredible people that we've connected with there, who we've continued to stay connected with. And yeah, we just immediately started hosting ceremonies on our way north, and we got back to Canada, and a lot of people were just sort of puzzled, and they were like, we don't really know what cacao ceremony is. What are you even doing? What is this? And we just kept following our hearts and sharing cacao and talking about cacao and just living this cacao life. And the connections have spiderwebbed around the entire planet now after about 4.5 years. And at some point we created a blog, which turned into a website. And we decided to start keeping track of all the events that we've shared cacao at. And sometime late last year, around the new year, we realized that we thought, let's count up our events and just see how much cacao we've shared. And so we're quite sure we've passed the 100 events mark recently. And just the number of people that have touched our lives and that we've been able to sit with and be really real with in the way that our ceremonies have kind of morphed and shifted. It's something that's hard to put into words, and I know that a lot of you know this feeling, working with others on the most real and authentic level that you can. And interestingly, over the last few months, we've sort of taken a little bit of a hiatus from hosting so many events, and we've just been putting roots down on this little island where we live now. But we have these giant logos on our car that say Cacao Connection. So of course, everywhere we go, people are like, so what is it that you do? Like, tell me about this Cacao Connection. What is it? And so we can't really hide from it. And just this last week, something really interesting shifted, and I don't know what it is, but we've been getting phone calls from people we don't know and emails from people we don't know asking us to come back out of hiding and share what we share. And so, yeah, I would just say that if you know you're supposed to be doing something, just keep doing it. You know, and that doesn't mean you quit your day job if you have one. It just means trust yourself, because no one knows better than each one of us does. And last year, Tanner and I were at a fork in the road. We had been on the road for an entire year, and we hosted our first cacao retreat in Oaxaca, Mexico, just a stone's throw from Keith and Barbara. And that was life-changing on a whole new level. And then we were driving north, and we had been in touch with Rick, which many of you had been. If you've been part of Keith's cacao family for a while. And at one point, Rick said, "So you guys are driving back from Mexico up the West Coast, eh?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Will you be in Portland?" And we said, "Yeah, we'll be passing through Portland for one day." And he said, "Which day is it?" And we told him, and he said, "That's the day that my flight lands in Portland. Let's have coffee." And so we did. And we also had an option to go to the Big Island of Hawaii at that very same time. And wouldn't you know it, the big volcano on the Big Island started erupting right at that same time. So Rick said, "Well, you guys don't go to Hawaii. I bet you could help me to take Keith's Cacao global." And, you know, there's an incredible team of practitioners out here who are just waiting to share their gifts with the world. And with the magic of the internet and things like this call, it's just really a gift to be able to meet up with everyone every month, and sometimes more than once a month, and to have Keith streamed live with his headset right from the porch. It's been quite a gift. So anyway, we continue to share Cacao, and our most recent phase, I guess you could call it, is we were doing a lot of sound journeys, and we were co-facilitating many of our events over the last few years with other people who I'll refer to as sound healers. And so we were doing a lot of collaborations, and recently Tanner and I moved into a tiny home, and so we had to really question all of our belongings and what we didn't need anymore. And so we recently sold some of our large crystal singing bowls, and we thought something else is going to come into our lives. There's a new chapter waiting for us. And so we just moved to this small island off of Vancouver Island, and within weeks of moving here, we were invited to join a kirtan group. We're both very passionate about chanting Sanskrit mantras as part of our lives every day, and so that was a pretty exciting step. And so we've been sort of in a training program of sorts with this music. And actually just last night, after a year of contemplation and hunting and searching and doing our homework, we've ordered ourselves a harmonium, which is a really beautiful instrument that's used in Indian kirtan music. So it feels like a new phase is starting. And I just got a call from a friend who's down at the lake the other day who said, "I'm coming to Canada, let's do a tour this summer of sound and cacao." So yeah, things are moving to a new level right now for us. It's required a lot of patience and a lot of trust, and life ebbs and flows. And yeah, I just like to encourage everyone to keep going. And that doubt that we've been talking about on this call is a real thing, and it continues to resurface for us, and we have to continue to do our own homework and do some deep reflection time. And, you know, ask the question, why are we doing what we do? And yeah, I think it's really good to ask ourselves why. So anyway, I hope that story made sense. And I just want to thank my mother-in-law and Joanna for being the cacao connections for us to Keith, who paved that imaginary path down to the lake and brought us there. And I also look forward to a homecoming reunion in the early months of 2020, which I've seen some people talking about on the practitioner group. So I will end my story there, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. Oh, and Rev Share has a question. Go ahead. Oh, I'm gonna unmute you.
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
First of all, I love your story, and I don't really have a question per se, but I have been into sound for a very long time, and until the last year and a half, it was just crystal bowls and I've moved into brass tuning bowls and gongs and tuning forks and bells and chimes and frequency sounds and all of this stuff. And I even have an event called Entering the Sonic Temple. And I was just wondering how you incorporate Cacao with sound events. Do you make it a big part of the event, or do you add it as an undertone to the event?
The cacao, you mean? Is it a?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good question. So what we've done to date is, well, two things. Sometimes we've created our own sound journeys and meditations, and then other times we've collaborated with others. But you know, it's a cacao ceremony first.
Okay.
Because that's who we have felt called to present. We've been presenting ourselves as cacao ceremony facilitators, and the sound is kind of the friend to the cacao in the events that we've hosted. And every event has always been completely unique and different than every other event, which is so magical, and you can't plan it. But yeah, so you know, we've always started with really focusing on the cacao and letting the sound come in when it's ready to come in. And you know, so many times we've had participants say, "I've got a song that's wanting to come through. Can I share?" And then it becomes this whole community sharing. And then when we've co-facilitated with other sound practitioners, often we've woven our instruments with their instruments and their singing with our singing, and it just becomes this beautiful intuitive tapestry that the cacao is really like, it's like the little spider webbies invisible in between. And man, when you just get out of your own way, as Keith says, and let the magic be what it's there to be, there's nothing like it. You can't plan your way out of what life has planned for you.
No.
You've got to get in the vehicle and just let life steer you.
Yes.
It's so great.
Thank you. That's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Wonderful. I'll let somebody else ask a question.
Okay, I see Emily's hand waving.
I'd like to jump in on that for a little bit.
Please do. And then Emily.
Yeah, I got into sound healing in the 1980s, long time before it got popular. And my research showed me that there were all of these different people, and everyone had a system of this frequency is good for this and this frequency is good for that, and somebody else has a completely different system, and somebody else has a completely different system, and there were like 8 or 9 of them, all who had a scale and frequencies and notes, you know, C, D, E, F, and they were all, every person's system was completely different, and middle C was used for all kinds of different things by every different person. And I was, you know, like, what is that about? And what I realized was that it's not the frequency, it's your intent. And the frequency carries your intent to the other people. A few months after I realized that, I bought one of the first sound healing books ever to come out by Jonathan Goldman. And in that book, he says he went through the same process of what is going on. And he finally realized it's your intent. The frequency doesn't matter. You can buy all kinds of this person's frequency system, that person's frequency system. So what? It's your intent. And your intent will ride the sound like a horse. Whether you make the sound with a sound toy. I've got sound toys. I love them. Whether you make the sound with your voice. Whether you know an overtone chanting method or not. It's your choice, and your intent will ride that sound. Now, as to intent, there are a number of teachers that say the very highest healing intent is to see the other person. Imagine them, literally pretend, fake it till you make it, pretend that the other person is already on the other side of the crisis that they're in, or the shift that they're ready to make, and see them that way. Imagine them that way, pretend them that way, and hold that energetic door open, because that is actually how they already are in a parallel reality. And so you are encouraging them to morph in this reality into that reality, or simply to shift there. And we've got a link. I think it's up on the website. Anyway, if you're interested in a graphic demonstration of this, a guy named Greg Braden, G-R-E-G-G-B-R-A-D-E-N, has a video up on YouTube, it's been up there a long time, of a Chinese Taoist medical hospital where through chanting, and what they're chanting is already gone, already gone, already gone, already gone, already gone. In their language, a woman's bladder cancer tumor dematerializes, and you look at it live on the sonogram feed. Her tumor disappears. Now, she's gone through a couple of weeks of preparation, of diet and classes and meditation and things to prepare her for this. So the sound will carry your intent, and the highest intent, according to quite a few people, is to see them as the light being they are. Mm-hmm. On the other side of whatever issue they're working with, to get them to that light being. To see them not as wounded, not as ill, not as something wrong, but to see them as a being of light on their own incredibly powerfully chosen journey. And that journey is exactly designed to get them where they're going. Okay, thank you. My 2 cents worth. Next.
I think Emily was next. Thanks, Keith.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Emily.
How are you?
Boop, boop, boop.
Actually, before I get into my question, my husband Garrett wanted to.
I just wanted to say real quick to you, thank you very much for leading me to your empath training. And I've actually been doing the training over the past month. And all I'll say is I now wake up knowing this is not mine. I know how to transmute it. And thank you very much. And I can't wait to come down and see you and discuss
everything
in detail.
Oh, that would be fun.
My wife.
Yeah, I want both of you.
Believe me, we're working it out. Yes. This year to come down and see you. We're also working out a trip to Peru, and it's our 10-year anniversary, and we're trying to figure out, let's try and get this all going together. So you'll be hearing from us soon with travel plans for sure. Okay. But my question comes in, first of all, I'm just so grateful for where we are and what we're doing with this medicine, and just full of gratitude with everything. And I'm so excited because we've got a cacao ceremony coming up on Sunday, and my stepmother's going to be doing it with us, and with the hopes of my father soon to join afterwards. My question is regarding health issues, and cacao. My father's 81. He's had some heart issues and he's on like blood thinner medications and things like that. I have done research on the internet. I do know that the best way is for me to feel into it, muscle test with him, muscle test with what I feel. I know intuitively, I'll know exactly what to do. But there's the left brain that's saying, let me just check in with Keith and see what he has to say about cacao and people who are on like heart medications and things like that.
All right, beautiful. First off, is he underweight, average weight, or overweight?
Oh, they consider him a little overweight.
Okay. I would give him about a 2/3 of a dose.
Oh, okay, great.
But between half and 2/3.
Great, yeah, I was thinking a half, maybe a little over half, so.
Yeah. Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
if he has heart conditions,
Yeah,
you should get him on about, of our cacao, about 30 grams a day, minimum.
that's what I see. That's what I envision him doing, getting him on a daily dosage of cacao. What I'm excited about is for his wife to experience it this weekend. She'll have more knowledge so she and I can work on him.
Yeah.
Opening him up to this. Okay, so 30 milligrams.
I would recommend it in 2 doses of 15 grams each.
Okay.
For a daily total of 30 grams. So that's basically half an ounce twice a day.
Right, because we are also worried about. I mean, as I'm, as we're getting people doing cacao seminars, and I've got so many people in my law of attraction group asking about it, and so I'm really building up on like all the health benefits to be able to just regurgitate it easily with them. And just, the brain health, the heart health. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is everything my father needs right now.
Right.
So all right. So about 2 doses of 15 grams a day. Hopefully I can get him in that.
Yeah, 15 to 20 grams. Now,
twice a day.
First medical paper to come out on this was, I think, about in 2003. Mm-hmm. And the researchers were led to a Panamanian area of islands, the San Blas Islands off the Caribbean coast of Panama. Actually, they're closer to Colombia. But anyway, because someone discovered that the locals there do not have high blood pressure. And so obviously, while that is quite likely genetic, there might be a causal factor in their environment, and that led to a medical investigation. And they compared a population of the Gunas living in a barrio, that would be a neighborhood in Panama City, with a population of Gunas living on the San Blas Islands. And they found a very clear difference. The Gunas in the barrio had the same rate of heart attacks, strokes, cardiovascular problems, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, blah, 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 as anyone else.
Yeah.
But that the people on the islands had, in terms of heart attacks, strokes, and cardiovascular problems, 8% of what was normal.
Wow.
In terms of cancer, 16% of normal. In terms of diabetes, now these are overweight, high salt diet Native Americans.
Yes.
With very high incident of diabetes. They found that the diabetes was 39%. They found no high blood pressure. There were several other oddities. For instance, cervical cancer was extraordinarily rare among people who regularly consume cacao.
Wow.
Women who regularly consume cacao, obviously.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing that the scientists realized was that even in their 50s, 60s, someone from the Panama City barrio, if they retire and return to the San Blas Islands and begin drinking the traditionally processed cacao that they used to drink down there. They don't anymore, but they used to.
Right.
They were protected from these heart attacks, strokes, cancer, high blood pressure, everything.
Right.
And I read a report by the Western trained doctor who runs the Panamanian hospital system in the San Blas Islands. There's 2 hospitals, 6 clinics, and a whole bunch of outlying health centers on 39 inhabited islands out of about 400.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the head doctor of the hospital said, oh, we have an EKG machine, an electrocardiograph.
Right.
In hospitals that we're familiar with, that's like an aspirin. You come in and they put you on one of these machines.
Yeah.
He said, we have an EKG machine. It's still in its original shipping carton. We haven't opened it in 15 years. We never needed it. That's a Western trained medical doctor. Never needed to give an electrocardiogram.
Amazing.
So this is
Kristin,
what
you're recording this. I may need to play this back for him.
yeah, this is what caused the cacao revolution in medicine, because they realized, so they started pulling cacao apart bit by bit and figuring out just what it was in the cacao. And the Mars Candy Company was in the forefront of this.
Really?
Yes, because the Mars Candy Company scientists got wind of this early research, and they got in there and they figured it out, and they patented the compounds in cacao that affect your health. They even figured out better ones. That was 15 years ago. Those compounds are not on the market. They just patented them.
Wow.
Wow.
And the Mars Candy Company developed, and you can find this on their website, they call it their Cacao Pro process. They developed a process that only removes half of the goodies instead of 99% of the goodies. Now, originally, when I first started looking at the Mars Candy Company, they tell the truth.
Keith, I'm going to ask you to repeat that last thing. Keith?
What's that?
Keith, can you repeat what you said, because your connection slowed down. We missed it.
All right.
I got Mars Cacao Pro's process, and that was the last thing.
Yeah. Originally, the Mars Candy Company, that's M&M's, Dove chocolate. Right. Yeah. They told the truth. Now, when you process cacao commercially, you take the butter weight out of it, right?
Right.
And so the butter weight, the cacao butter, is about half of the weight of the cacao, of whole cacao. So if you remove the butter, you basically double the concentration of everything else, because you just removed half of the bean.
Right.
And so while their process, this new process they developed, only removed half of the goodies, because they removed the butter, the concentration is doubled. And so on their advertising now, they say it has the same concentration as the original chocolate. And that's, you know, there's liars, damn liars, and statisticians.
Right.
And so that's what they're doing. They're using the statistical business that the cacao weighs half as much because they cut the butter out. So
Right.
the fact that they're giving people half strength cacao, they're able to say something different. Anyway, they sell that Cacao Pro process as a health thing. You can buy a box of 30 bars to last you an entire month from the Mars people. But the Mars people and everybody else says, we don't think the public wants real chocolate. We don't think they'll pay for it, so we're not going to produce it. So they use the Dutching process that removes over 99% of the active ingredients.
Right.
Now, one of the things the Mars people have done is they take a little bit of their 50% strength chocolate and add it back. M&Ms are now 97% missing instead of 99% missing. And Dove Dark Promises are now 95% missing instead of 99% missing.
Right.
And this is one of the first experiences I ever had with chocolate. I found out that if I ate 12 to 15 Dove Dark Promises and didn't get sick, I got a little bit of a buzz on it.
Yep.
A little bit of the chocolate influence.
Yeah.
And so Lindt and Green and Blacks are like this. They're missing about 80%. So if you eat a great big Lindt bar,
Right.
you'll get a pretty decent little, half strength ceremonial buzz.
That's probably why Kai chose Lindt when she was doing her thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's basically the story.
Got
But
it.
what the medical professionals realized, that even someone in advanced age with their arteries just full of plaque,
Thank you. Yes.
if they start consuming about 30 grams a day of chocolate, within several months, their arteries are completely clear. So there is nothing to break loose and cause a heart attack or a stroke.
Oh my God.
And the cacao is a vasodilator. It relaxes and opens your blood vessels. Even if your heart rate goes up a little bit, the blood flow to the brain increases 30%. The blood pressure drops, so you're far less likely to get an aneurysm of the brain. That's an exploded blood vessel in the brain, which is one of the other major cardiovascular problems. Does that make sense?
Total sense.
Can
Total
I
sense.
ask real quick?
Yes, sir.
What would be the best vehicle to give this the 15-gram doses? Do an actual little bit of tea, make some little non-baked, product for him? What would be the best way?
Whatever he likes.
Pardon?
Whatever he likes.
Okay, here, all right, this is going to lead into, this is going to be my question. My dad's into quick and easy. Is there any dissolution of the cacao properties after you've already mixed it with a liquid, be it water, almond milk, or however I do it?
Nope.
All right, so I could make him a thermos full of cacao and be like, okay, drink a cup of this twice a day, and I could make him a week's worth of cacao, and it'd be all ready for him, and he can do that.
Cacao with sweetening in it, sugars in it, don't last very long, even in the refrigerator, only about a week.
Oh, okay, it would last all right, so it would last a couple of days. If my dad only lives 2 blocks from me. I could literally walk over and bring him some every 3 days.
Or you could make some treats.
Okay.
Some cacao balls, cookies, or little yummies that make.
I am open to anybody who has recipes for this. Put them up on the Facebook page, please. Yeah. That would be perfect.
There are some on the Cacao Practitioners page already.
Okay.
And we have a text on making cacao balls on the ceremonialcacao.blogspot.com website.
Awesome.
It's not really a recipe. It's just a huge list of all of the things that we know that people have done to make cacao balls. And what you do, like if the cacao balls are a little runny, if the cacao balls are, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
So the only really important thing here is overdose.
Yes.
Too much cacao the first step will probably be, for the average person, the first indicator of too much cacao is you get diarrhea.
Already been there, done that.
Yeah. The second, a little bit more cacao and you'll get nausea, because bitter makes people nauseous.
Right.
Too much of any bitter from anywhere in the plant or the chemical world will make you nauseous at first.
Got it.
A little bit more cacao and you'll get nauseous and want to throw up. A little bit more cacao, you'll get nauseous, throw up, and feel better. A little bit more cacao, you'll get nauseous, throw up, and not feel better. And a little bit more cacao, and you'll get nauseous, throw up again and again and again, and not feel better. Okay? That's the general progression.
Right.
And most people I know have overdosed on cacao, and it is not like the purging that is common with ayahuasca or peyote, that is an integral and important part of the release process. With cacao, all you get is sick.
Got it.
And, you might as well drink 4 shots of tequila and, get to the same place if that's, whatever.
We had a friend that had that experience. We weren't aware that he was still on antidepressants, and it was just a regular full dose, like 50 grams. And
Woo!
Yeah, it was just a regular, but it was, or was it 46? It was somewhere between 40 and 50.
Yeah.
But his next day, he definitely had a lot of purging, but he did have a lot of toxic energy to release.
And the cacao will help with that.
Yeah.
But from my experience, about 30 grams a day.
Okay. Got it.
And after 6 months, it could go down to 20 grams a day.
Okay.
And basically prepare it in any form that'll work for him. Okay. A bunch of little cacao goodies kept in the refrigerator. I have one comment on cacao goodies. If you use coconut oil in them, they tend to go rancid a little faster.
Okay.
Coconut oil's wonderful, but they don't keep quite as long.
What oil do you recommend?
Most people use the nut butters.
Okay.
Peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, something like that.
Okay.
It's an excellent combination, and the food, whether that is a nut milk or something like a nut butter, the extra calories in the cacao will spread the assimilation out over time.
Got it.
Now, in my ceremonies here, I don't want to serve the cacao with a lot of food stuff because I want to get it in people's systems fast.
As soon as possible. Right, exactly.
But if I'm doing a long day of creative writing on the website, I want to spread it out over time, and I'll have it with breakfast. We know some writers right here in San Marcos who put the cacao in their oatmeal with some cinnamon and some honey. Boom. It gives them a whole day of writing.
Right, as your body's slowly metabolizing it throughout the day.
Yes, yes. And so for productive workplace focus or that sort of thing, it's great with food. It just assimilates a little slower and spreads it out over time. Does that help? Yeah.
One last question then. With the cacao goodies, you mentioned that sugar will break down the properties. If it's
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So, like, I could make him a batch of cacao goodies and they'll last in the fridge.
Yes.
Okay.
You can use any sweetening you want. If you're really health oriented, you'll want to use a low or I forget now what it is, the glycemic ratio in it. You'll want to have that lower or higher, whatever it is. Somebody on the call will know. So that it doesn't tend to cause the sugar diabetic insulin resistance reaction.
Okay. I see Rebecca.
I think it's a high glycemic index. Somebody maybe will post it on the feed here.
Yeah, that'd be great. And again, I am so open. Any goodies, recipes that any of you all have,
Yeah.
Please put them up on the Facebook page, wherever, put them up here, email me. I don't care. I'd be awesome. I'm very open to suggestions.
They're really easy to make.
Yeah.
I've taken a bunch of nuts, thrown them in a food processor, processed it until you start to get a butter, and then in goes the cacao.
Awesome.
The cacao doesn't want to go in first, because as soon as the mechanical action heats the cacao up, it's going to melt and stick.
Got it.
But if you've already got a bunch of nut butter or various other ingredients like that, and any kinds of superfood or anything else that you feel that he would like, you know, like pop some for his heart, the herbal medicine would be hawthorn berries.
Okay.
For him. For other people, it would be something different. Hawthorn berries are little red dried berries that you can buy in any health food store. They're an ancient remedy for the heart. But and they're relatively, they don't have much of a taste at all. They're just like some dry berry.
Got it.
You know, they're not like a raspberry or something yummy.
Yeah.
But if you would take a spoonful of them, like per dose, a teaspoonful, a rounded teaspoonful of a few of them, and add it to whatever cacao goodie he's eating, you know, as a daily dose, like a teaspoonful per day.
Okay.
That would be an excellent addition to his heart.
Okay, perfect.
So it's called hawthorn berry. There's nothing you'll get it confused with. I'm sure you could buy powder or capsules or something, but basically just the little dried berries, they'll be less than a 1/4 inch across. In other words, 3-4 millimeters across.
Mm-hmm.
And common in any, you know, herbal section of a health food store.
Got it.
You'll pay more if it's powdered or processed or capsuled, but you don't need that.
No, but if we're doing it in a food processor, why not actual berries?
And it'll whack them up and be an excellent addition
Awesome.
with a more immediate medicinal effect, whereas the cacao is going to work to remove the arterial plaque over months.
Right.
I just have one question about the cooking with it. I'm a chef, so I'm going to be playing with cooking with this, but I just need to know, what is the maximum temperature that will cause degradation of the plant itself when I'm...
Are you Fahrenheit or centigrade?
Fahrenheit.
Okay, 350.
350, no more than 350, and it holds...
Brownie cooking temperature.
Awesome.
Got it.
Thank you.
Will at least the brownies I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
It will reduce the energy slightly, but not very much.
Okay.
Now, David Wolf actually says this in his book on chocolate. Now, commercial chocolate is heated far higher because they're using beans, and the way they grind them leaves a great deal of bacteria in the chocolate. So they have to heat it to relatively extreme temperatures over 350 Fahrenheit, the brownie baking temperature, standard brownie baking temperature. But you could always make, there's lots and lots of recipes out there. Just do a search for raw brownie recipe.
Mm-hmm. And now just one more, and then I'm going to leave. I'm going to not take up any more time. If I incorporate this with foods as well, other than dessert chocolate, just stick with the same parameters. Don't heat above 350. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And as soon as I come up with some recipes and whatnot, I will share them freely and gladly with all, without any, attachment. So
okay.
Thank you for that.
I have a recommendation for you.
Oh, good.
That you look up chocolate mousse on the web.
Very well work with chocolate mousse. You're telling me, how about
chocolate avocado mousse? Chocolate avocado vanilla. Okay, you know that one?
No,
but I'm shaking my head. It sounds like it's just easy to wow.
Okay.
Wait, say it. Chocolate avocado banana
mousse. Yeah, no animal milk.
Yep.
Animal milk interferes with the absorption of some of the animal compounds. That would be animal dairy, let's call it that.
Got it.
Okay.
Now, so you're gonna make in your food processor with the chocolate, the avocado, a little bit of banana, and you'll get the rest of the recipe off the web. And you're gonna put it in a parfait glass and put a couple raspberries on the top, and your mind will never be the same.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
I gotta get the door. Thank you.
No, and can I tell you something? It's really funny because the cacao that we do now in ceremony, we've been doing it with almond milk, cinnamon, nutmegs, cayenne, and honey, and putting it in the blender. I swear to God, it comes out like chocolate mousse. It's beyond amazing. I mean,
Yes.
people are freaking out over how good this stuff tastes. I mean, and just almond milk, literally cinnamon, nutmeg, cayenne, and raw honey, and the cacao. And I swear to God, it's like chocolate mousse. It's so good.
I've got a suggestion for you.
I'm open. Yes.
Try, now the Mexican preference is cinnamon.
Right.
Try cardamom.
Oh,
I was gonna
Yes.
do that. And hey, I'm sorry, real quick. Can I try fenugreek and things like that? Just as or is that gonna get too weird with it? You know what I mean?
You'll find out.
That's what I
but
figured.
you're saying
Yeah.
cardamom instead of try cardamom instead of cinnamon, or
Instead of cinnamon, yes.
instead? Okay.
And if you want to go, and this is difficult, you're in the United States?
Yeah.
This is difficult in the United States. But if you really want an unbelievable thing with cacao, tonka bean.
Tonka bean. Okay.
Yeah, tonka bean is illegal in the United States.
Well, I'm sure we can get it when we go visit outside the U.S. and bring it back in.
Yeah, it's quite common in Europe. There are exotic French ice creams and a French pastry based on tonka bean flavor. It's this amazing vanilla and cherry and anyway.
I've heard about this legendary thing, and I can just imagine what it tastes like. My God.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, we'll definitely keep a lookout for that because we have friends traveling all over.
And when you get down here,
yeah.
I'll have a little of my tonka bean thrown in a blender with some cheap vodka.
Yeah, awesome.
And you put 3 or 4 drops in a cup of cacao. The vodka is only to preserve it.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so
Okay.
excited. And I just, and on a completely side note to what you were addressing in the beginning of this whole thing, it's, before getting into cacao ceremonies, even with my Law of Attraction group, I've really started to let go of how many people are showing up for each ceremony, because every single time it always winds up being the exact people that are supposed to be there each time. And I know for a lot of us, this is either adding to our income, or for some of you, it is your income. So I know there's that concern there, but just to know that whoever comes and is present in your ceremony is who's supposed to be there. When we're doing this kind of work, Keith, you said this, so maybe 2 ceremonies ago, I wrote it down because I wanted the exact verbatim way you said it, but you said, let go of the outcome, trust in the path your higher self is taking you on. And that's the same thing to apply to who shows up for our ceremonies. And when I can let go of that, every ceremony is absolutely perfect and what it's supposed to be.
Yes, basically you're letting go of control.
Exactly.
It's being run at another level, and you are working for that other level.
Exactly.
For your own benefit and for that of others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different here in the porch.
I can't wait to sit on that porch.
They're all different. They're all fun.
Yes, exactly.
I may never leave your porch, just so you know.
Awesome.
That's okay. We'll keep you cacaoed up.
I'll keep cooking. No worries.
All righty.
Everybody present, thank you so much. I cannot tell you how grateful we are to be a part of this family, or to have found our ethereal family again, you know, our celestial family. So I love you all. Even though today's the first time I'm seeing some of you, so just so grateful for all of you.
Well, you have a beautiful story, just like Kristin shared.
Oh yeah, for sure. We do.
Maybe, maybe the two of you would like to be one of the upcoming stories.
We'd love to. Oh my God, to share our law of attraction story coming into this work with plant medicine and then finding cacao. Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. We'd love to share that sometime.
Honored.
I'll send you an email.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Perfect.
I would like to jump in with something that came up a little bit ago, so that everybody just puts this out. It was just put up on the practitioners page a little bit ago by Rick, and we are having here in San Marcos what we're calling a homecoming. So it is March 3rd through March 10th of next year, 2020. And we have rented the entire La Paz. There's a giant palapa. That's a covered space to do like ceremonies in and stuff. Lots of sleeping rooms, individual rooms, group rooms, and there's a restaurant on premises. Obviously, other people will be using the restaurant, but you can eat right there. And it's a small hotel in San Marcos, and if there's any overflow, we'll be able to put you nearby. And the purpose of this is to bring everyone together to spend a lot of time in San Marcos at the lake with us. And one of the things we have planned is a long day to visit a cacao plantation up in the rainforest mountains, where we will take a walk, and the people whose plantation it is will cut the pods off the trees, open them up, and you'll eat cacao out of the pods right under the trees. And there'll be a trip across the lake both ways, restaurant meals for breakfast and dinner, and then we will eat on site. They will prepare some local food for us there. We'll have coconuts to drink to keep you hydrated. It'll be hot. And so this is one of the things that we're going to do. It'll be a long day, but we're going to have a lot of fun. So I wanted to throw that out, that it is March 3rd through the 10th of next year. If people want to come and join, I don't think the sign up is out there or anything like that yet, but we're working in that direction. The reservations have been made. This is a done deal. Okay?
Thanks for sharing that, Keith. Yeah, I think it's coming any day or week now. Now that Rick will be back from his honeymoon and moving into the new chapter of his life, we'll be trying to firm up lots of these details and let people start claiming their spot at La Paz. It's going to be so much fun. I can tell Keith's excited to have the whole fam down there.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes, please.
Okay, hi, it's Saoirse. I am wondering about children. Is it something that would be child friendly, or is it best not to bring, it would be husband to children?
Oh my goodness, I certainly hope so.
Okay.
I would not want it any other way. What ages?
They're almost, well, by then they'll be 6 and 8.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, my ceremonies have always been open to children of all ages. And, basically at 6 or 8, they can participate.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get your kids doing healing work on other people if they want. We won't push them into it.
Yeah.
But if they like to play with that, It'll happen.
Yeah, cool. They're exploring already, my older one a little bit. So it may be perhaps that the actual cacao, I mean, I don't know what that entails, the trip to the plantation, but my husband and kids could possibly stay back for that, or I don't really know, but we can work that out, or I can talk.
I don't see why they can't go. It is a 45-minute walk up into the rainforest, but we can always arrange to hire a pickup truck where literally they would ride in the back. The pickup truck has a big cage around it, so you're not just in the back of a pickup. There's plenty of support around you.
Okay,
and so for people who don't want a 45-minute sweaty walk up into the rainforest, we can easily arrange transportation.
Cool. Okay, great. That's exciting.
That is not going to be a problem. I would definitely bring the kids.
Okay.
And I see absolutely no reason for somebody to stay behind with the kids while everybody else goes. They'll be welcomed there. There'll be other kids there, you know.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
And they can eat cacao right out of the pod.
And they will. Yeah, they love cacao. So I know it'll taste different in that way, but yeah, my older daughter loves like sour and bitter and all the different tastes.
Oh, good. Well, the white pulp around the cacao seeds in a fresh cacao pod is sweet sour. It is a fruit snack. I mean, I see little children in the coastal towns. They open up a cacao pod, they eat the pulp, and they spit the seeds on the street. Just like you'd spit the seeds out of a watermelon or something. So, oh goodness, they would have a blast down here.
Yeah, cool.
And just for you, come on over to our house sometime. We'll put you and Papa and the two kids in a kayak in the morning when the lake is calm and flat, and you can go out and paddle around and have some fun.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Keith.
And they're the sit on top kayaks, so that if you dump it over in the middle of the lake, you just climb back on. It's not a problem getting back in.
Yeah. Very cool. High adventures. I think the Mejia family's ready. So.
All right.
Looking forward to it. Thank you for answering my question.
Beautiful. Kristin?
Well, does anyone else have any particular questions about anything? Oh, yes, sorry, Cher told me she had another question, so here we go.
Unmute. Okay, so since we were talking about food, a few days ago, I got a very strong message about, and it's kind of out there, but not for this group, about sustaining one's physical form via light, which is really adjusting more over to a light body manifestation, I think. I'm kind of still confused about it, but ever since I got that message, I have been carving out like crazy. And I would just like a little help with the integration. I don't know if I'm feeling afraid or where the resistance is coming from to where I've jumped right back into that addiction of jumping in and eating nothing but carbs instead of.
Yes, you're in absolute rebellion.
Yes. And yet I'm excited about
yes
what's coming. I'm really excited about it. And for the last 3 days, I've had ice cream and pudding, all this stuff I haven't ate for a year. I've been eating. And I'm like, God damn.
All right. Well, to answer your question, just as a little background.
Okay.
In the 1970s, I did altered diet, raw foods, fasting, all kinds of radical diet stuff. And I've kept up with the genre since then. Okay. Barbara and I, about 3 years ago, basically we both at the same time hit the place where we wanted to radically change our diet. Yeah. And it took about 2 years. lots of energy drops. It was a very wild ride to drop our caloric consumption to somewhere around 1/4 to 1/3 of what it normally had been. And one of my guiding lights was a phrase that I had remembered from the 1970s. I believe it is an Arabic saying that 1/4 of what you eat is for you and the other 3/4 is for the doctors.
Yeah.
So, in watching what works and what doesn't work, basically, since the 1970s, and I'm going to move around here. I've got one of these things going on here. and he's snoring at the moment. So I'm going to take myself off video for a bit. And so the basic understanding is of what works is that most people find that the easiest way to start is with an energy called, or a philosophy or a technique called intermittent fasting. And you can find a ton of stuff on the web. And basically all intermittent fasting is that you drop one meal a day and you keep your eating within a 6 to 8 hour window.
Yeah, I do that now.
Yes, and for everybody else then, the purpose is that it takes the body 12 hours to shift out of carbohydrate metabolism and into fat metabolism. So if you eat a normal dinner and a normal breakfast, you break the cycle and the body goes back into carbohydrate-based digestion instead of ketogenic or fat-based digestion. Now, there's a subset of this group called warrior fasting where you limit it to a 4 to 5 hour window. One of the main purposes this does in allowing you to go into fat digestion is that your body begins to detoxify because the fat holds a lot of the toxins. It's also according to a lot of experts, one of the main reasons for diet failures is that if you don't get out of carbohydrate metabolism every day or every few days, the body just craves more food. It doesn't shift into that place. Now, anybody can fast for 3 days. That's a water fast, or even a juice fast, where you're taking some calories. And there are now a number of scientific papers coming out that fasting for like up to 72 hours, every couple of weeks or every once in a while or something, does a huge thing to boost your stem cell production. It gets rid of a lot of old stuff in your body. So that would be the next step from intermittent fasting, is to do fasting for like 3 days. Even people, let me put this back here. People who go into ketosis with extended fasting, that doesn't kick in for about 3 days. In other words, at 3 days, people who have this particular body reaction will get quite weak.
Yeah.
And that's when they need to start fasting. Whereas the average person, after fasting 3 days, the cravings are gone and they are in a really high energetic space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But to start with intermittent fasting, where you basically drop one meal a day. And Barbara and I don't really have a schedule because if people are here and we're going out to dinner, we don't eat breakfast. But otherwise, we eat a breakfast, and sometimes that's the only meal we eat all day. This morning was apples, bananas, a bunch of superfood powders, and some nuts.
Yeah, that's basically how I was eating.
Yeah.
Till I got that message.
Yes. And the little rebellious self-saboteur said, let me show you.
Yeah, give me sugar and flour now. Stat.
Yes. Yes. So,
I just need to calm her down.
no,
No?
you
Okay.
need to love her
Yeah.
and the you. This is an opportunity for your next level of loving something that you don't love.
Okay.
Having loving, accepting compassion for something that is not your preference.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's her gift to you.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So people who do, there's a huge controversy out there between the keto people and the plant-based people.
Mm.
And I've got a lot of information on it. We'll tell everybody to bring their hard drives down when they come here, and we'll give them lots and lots of goodies. Anyway, the altering your diet thing is, we call it one of the big three.
Yeah.
You want to go on a spiritual acceleration? Number one, fall in love. Well, you've already got that one taken
And
care
that
of.
one. Yeah.
Number two, enter a business partnership. Number
Did that.
three, attempt to change your diet. The
Yeah, there we
shit
go.
will hit the fan. Yes?
Yes. I haven't had pudding in 12 years. I ate pudding.
Uh-huh. The
Yeah.
counterattack of the pudding.
Yeah.
So, it is one of the most amazing things that you can use to change your consciousness, but you can't do it by forcing yourself,
Yeah.
because you'll get a counter rebellion
Yeah.
inside. And then you're in a war inside, and it's just not the way to work it.
Yeah. I hear you. I gotta
But when
welcome
it's
it, love
time,
it, accept
yeah,
it.
when it's time, your diet will change. We will throw out an additional little thing.
Okay.
This is going to be this is controversial, of course, but there's a number of higher beings that say we are going into global cooling instead of global warming.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I get the same thing.
Yep. And places that are now cold, that would be Eastern Canada, not Kristin, Tanner, not Western Canada, but Eastern Canada, Northern Europe, obviously Siberia, the place that have been cold, are going to be about, over the next number of years, they're going to average about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 9 degrees centigrade colder. There are enlightened beings recommending that people in northeastern Canada, northeastern United States, in northern Europe, get a wood stove.
Yeah.
Now, many places in Scandinavia, wood stoves are illegal to use because of carbon emissions, but they're not illegal to own. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously, they're not going to throw you in jail for using one when the grid is down and there's no heat anywhere. This is what they're saying is coming.
Yeah.
Is that by 2023 to 2024, a little bit after currencies have collapsed, food prices are going to be way up because of the crop failures in northern latitudes. The Russian wheat crop failed last year.
Yeah.
We had a guy on the porch yesterday who participated in the new weather pattern in northern Europe. Very cold winters and hot, dry summers. Not good for crops. And the interesting thing is, just as an example, the German potato crop came in at less than 1/3 of normal. The government's response to that was to remove food from the consumer inflation index
Oh,
so that it wouldn't show.
oh.
Typical governmental reaction. Oh, you know food prices are up, but hey, look at the inflation index. It's not up.
Yeah.
And you won't even notice that we remove food. So anyway, they all say that this is coming. So if by 2023 and 2024, food prices are going to be considerably higher, you might find yourself in a great position if you're eating 1/4 to 1/3 of what you normally consume.
Yeah.
It might be a help. And so what I see here when I talk to people is people being synchronistically guided
Mhm.
because their guidance or their higher selves or what know on another level that this part, I mean, if we're going to have a bunch of chaos to move a bunch of stuff, food shortages and currency collapses are going to be a big benefit. They're going to help the average person. If they're fat and happy, they're not going to bother changing anything.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but you are getting the impulse from within to prepare.
Yeah.
And the part of you that goes, "Ah,
Give me pudding.
I'll starve." So
Give me pudding or I'll starve.
one other note that we mention here once in a while is for people to let go of disempowering belief systems like vegetarian, vegan, or raw foods and learn how to listen to your body. You have to take the journey within to learn what a craving is and what your body is telling you you're wanting, and leave
Yeah.
disempowering philosophies about diet.
Right on. I hear you.
One of my teachers, Lazarus, said some people need to eat meat
Yeah.
for their individual constitution. I'm not one of them. But what I learned in my journey is that your beliefs about a food have far more effect on the physical body than the food itself.
Right.
And Barbara and I, we
Oh my God.
rarely eat bread. We rarely eat cheese. And we can go out and share a pizza if we feel like it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious, and our body has no negative effect at all.
You know, I was an athlete as a kid, and we had to carb up all the time just to have energy to make it through a race.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's kind of connected to that.
Well, work with that inner child.
I
'Cause you're
will.
in another kind of a race now.
Yeah. She doesn't need the carbs for energy.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you.
Okay.
Why don't you do this right now?
Okay.
Go inside and sit down with the relevant inner child of whatever age comes to you. You know, obviously it's a range of ages, but it'll center on something that will be an
Yeah.
example.
She's
So you can
9.
work with it practically. Yeah. And hold out 2 things in front of her. One is some pudding. And the other is light, straight out of the higher self.
Yeah.
And let her
She's
try
going right for the light, man.
Yes. Yes. I'm just trying to fill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in case people have been wondering, I've seen a couple people looking. I am on the back porch where we have a little studio with lights and stuff set up. And we have a huge bunch of mosquitoes out. So I have one of these. It's a little thing that
Yes.
looks like a tennis racket. And it is an electronic bug zapper. And so you just kind of swing it through the mosquito, and the poor little mosquito and all of the blood, your blood that's already in it, get electrocuted. So
Very cool.
it's keeping me from being seriously bit up back here. And
We need one here in Texas.
I'm going to get a bug net for this little studio back here, but and session space. But anyway, it hasn't happened yet. So that's what we're swinging around here. Is a bug
Thank
zapper.
you.
Does anyone else have any final words before we wrap up this call for the day? Nothing. Everybody's speechless, Keith.
How about that?
Well, I would just like to thank.
Who didn't chime in this call?
I think there are a couple of people listening, maybe perhaps
Yeah.
not
All
in a
right.
space of interacting. But I just want to thank everyone that did show up. Lots of people have left by now. I know it's late in some parts of the world, later. So thanks to everyone. Thank you, Keith, as always.
Well, let's do a little closing meditation.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Ask the Mother Earth energy to come up from below, through the bottoms of your feet and your root, to join in your first chakra, to be received as belonging. You have a place here. The support of the earth, you got a planet, food, air. It's a cooperative endeavor. You're needed here. Can't have a physical body without a planet, unless you build a spaceship on it and then leave. So bring this energy up into the first, second, and third chakras as support, as a foundation. And from the third chakra, it will support the heart will feel safer, and all of the classic spiritual expansion and connecting up through the throat, sixth and seventh chakra, will be a lot more stable. We say, you're going to build a tall building, you start with the foundation, a good foundation, so the building is stable. And this earth support in your first, second, and third chakra is that foundation. And let it connect with the heart. Support the heart. We consider this to be grounding. We see a lot of people that don't relate to grounding as going down, but bringing that partnership up to join. So if it works for you, fine. Now, as the heart is supported, let the love return to the solar plexus. So you get a two-way street, a up and down, a circular flow of power from the third chakra supports the love of the heart. Heart supports power. Power supports love. Heart supports power. Power supports love. And with an aligned, supportive love, an aligned, supportive power, your power, the ability to do what you need to do when it's time to do it, what you want to do when it's time to do it, will be a lot easier to allow, because the power will be guided by love and you will be aligned. It will be so easy to choose to be aligned with the highest good. If it's to your highest good, if it is the highest good, it's automatically to everyone's by definition. And so you'll trust your power, your ability, your will more with this feedback loop from the heart. And then a beautiful thing will happen. That partnership between third chakra and heart will move up to the throat. And you'll let that partnership out into the world. And then the chakra below the heart and the chakra above the heart will enter a new alignment. And out into the world, your magic will flow. So much easier, so much more fun. And you'll feel supported and guided by something larger than yourself. The love that your heart can already connect to. So send it down to the solar plexus. Power supports love. Love guides the power. Power supports love. Love guides the power. So thank you all.
Thank you, Keith.
Blessings all around. And have more fun. Thank you, Kristin.
Thank you. See you all again really soon. Enjoy the rest of
Bye-bye.
your